Tony Harvin. I greet everybody upon this evening. You know what I mean? Y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church. So please do not lay claims of those titles on me. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody who's going to join us live now, in the middle, and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. What up, what up, what up? It was very interesting, very interesting service yesterday. Very interesting. You know what I mean? And we had a great live yesterday on the secondary YouTube channel for the most part. Tony Harvin Network, my secondary YouTube channel. What's up to Larry? Shout out to you. He says, hey, PJ put dude on that summer jam screen. Now he's running around talking about he going to expose Ernest. He says Ernest is an adult, but C-Rock is petty, dude. He really showing himself as SMH. He says, I asked him about the phone call he supposedly recorded, the one between he and PJ. I think he was lying about that too. Wow. I mean, you know, things seem to be getting messy in general. You know what I mean? But this what happens. This what comes to with it. This what comes with it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Whether you're dealing with social media, TV, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I always tell people, have bulletproof emotions when dealing with the internet, for the most part. You know what I mean? I titled it T.O.G versus everybody, false prophets, former members, whoever, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's just what it is for the most part. False prophets, former members, get your screen recorders ready. Get your audio recording ready. You know what I mean? Shout out to the people in New York and New Jersey. You know how we used to do it coming up as kids when Funk Flex was on the radio, Envy, Red Alert. We get our cassette tapes ready to record. So false prophets, get ready. Get ready. All right, what's up to Jeremy Dunbar? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Willie Timpson. Shout out to you. What's up to Love Hannah, Scotty, Brother SV, Kurt Ellis. Eric, what up, Shemaya, Brother S, bless, Gwendolyn. Number 33 says, Pastor Jennings laid the smackdown like always. What's up to Lamar Robinson, Heidi Jones. What's up to the Build Network TV. Hope all is well. Let me see who else. Jeremy Dunbar says, I'm rocking with PJ all day. What's up to June 19th? All right. Sons of Thunder. You said that you wrote a comment. You said you left C-Rock out in the cold. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, man, you gotta let me know what you're talking about that one. For the most part. You know what I mean? All right. I don't know where that came from. What's up to Tanya Bond? Shout out to you. What's up to Lynn Kelly? Shemaya 40 said, yesterday was amazing, and I just wish the haters stay away from us while we minding our business over here. Well, of course, you know, it's going to be haters all over the place. It just comes with it. You know, it's just going to always happen. Whether they say they dislike, you know, people who are striving for the Lord and those who listen to Pastor Jennings or whatever the case may be, you know, people like that, I'm convinced that they have a mental health issue. They really have a mental health issue for the most part. You know what I mean? It's nothing else I could say about individuals like that. If you don't like a person, if you dislike what they preach or teach, why are you continuing to listen to them? Why are you continuing to watching the YouTubers' videos? You know what I mean? I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit on somebody live and watch it. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I don't sit here and like the haters. Like, I'm on the live right now. You got the haters in the back probably just watching. for a whole hour, because that's what I'm looking forward to staying on here for a good hour possibly. You know what I mean? I don't get it. You know what I mean? Only thing I can think of is a mental health issue. That's it, for the most part. All right. I'm still waiting on you, Sons of Thunder. You know what I mean? St. Louis, if that's you, man. Listen, St. Louis, if that's you, man, just man up. Say, listen, it's me, St. Louis. I missed the channel. You know what I mean? You don't gotta hide who you are. Simple as that, man. Man up. I mean, these folks be hiding behind names and stuff like that, switching up names. Man up. Simple as that. If that's you. All right. What's up to Sion? Shout out to you. Bruchella. He says, hey Tony, I would be lying if I said I did not see this coming. And C-Rock, he says, from the earlier days when some of us in the comments were telling the bro to slow down, but he remained overzealous. Oh, I mean, I guess you was one of his, I guess you watch his videos often, for the most part, that you can detail that. You know what I mean? I mean, I hear sayings in reference to something like that similar, in general. You know what I mean? But it's a good thing that, you know, PJ forgave him, for the most part. You know what I mean? It's what it's about, forgiving people and not having a hatred for nobody at the end of the day. You know what I mean? All right. Bless says, I don't understand how someone can get messed up for so long, my lord. All right. Rebel Eric says, I believe Patrick Thompson said he watches every week. Well, I mean, hey, I don't get it. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Shemaya 40 says, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy how you want to watch us but don't like T.O.G. What's up to Sister Claire? Shout out to you. What's up to KJ Smooth? Albert Fuller, what up? I'm all good, man. You know, finishing working. You know what I mean? And we on this live. I hope all is well with you. What's up to Holiness 504? What's up to Michelle Campbell and Maxwell? Oh, Dan, what up? You see what's going on? I have been watching and seeing what going on overall. Oh, yeah. Man, yesterday was very interesting and whatnot. You know what I mean? For the most part, I would hope, you know, people can fix things, but in general, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? If two people can't, or more than two people can't fix something, then hey, you know what I mean? What's up to Shannon68? Shout out to you. What's up to Gene Small? Gino P, what up, what up, what up? He says, hope all is well with everyone tuning in from the office. Oh yeah, man, right back at you. Corey Finney, he says, crazy how you can say someone lied that you paid your own family funeral, but says that PJ gave you $8,000. How did he lie if he gave you? I mean, wow, man, it's it's just a crazy situation overall, man. It's just crazy for the most part. You know what I mean? All right, Love Hannah, what up? You said respect to Tony Harvin for not being messy in this whole situation. I haven't heard him say anything messy or negative about any side, just facts and info. And you know, my thing is this. I'm not a messy person at the end of the day. And I do know that the brothers and sisters, when we have certain conversations about topics, there may be some disagreements about, you know, what's being taught in general. That's why we have conversations, whether on this channel or the secondary YouTube channel, whether we talk about baptism, Holy Communion, divorce and remarriage, Son of God, whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody's not going to agree for the most part. But that's why should humble themselves. Like, I didn't know about the binding and loosening video until I seen it yesterday. You know what I mean? As far as like, you know, the other day, as far as like what was played on, you know, that other fella's YouTube channel. You know what I mean? And some of y'all told me about it last year also on Judah and Perdido's channel. You know what I mean? And I was, you know, shaky about it because I don't believe nobody can send nobody to hell, but the way he broke it down as far as like binding, it's almost like in a sense of binding and sending is two different things. You know what I mean? I would like for him to, expound more and more on that, man. It's just very interesting, for the most part. You know what I mean? But the brothers and sisters, we talked about that in the recap one time. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll have a second part 2 to that, because that's a very interesting topic. But, a lot of other things were said and whatnot. It is what it is, for the most part. I don't have nothing negative to say unless somebody, throw shots at me, at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I know the T.O.G is who I'm rocking with. You know what I mean? Whether, some things are hard to come up to, or there may be some things that, you scratch your head on. At the end of the day, I'm going to sit back and keep learning, for the most part. You know what I mean? And whereas though we have these conversations previously, I think we talked about binding and loosening. We talked about the mansion. When he talked about it, of course, in that service last month or something like that. We talked about that stuff. You know what I mean? So almost everything that was mentioned on the other person's side, we had conversations about within folks who joined this YouTube channel and other YouTube channel. You know what I mean? All right. So Rebel Eric says, if you have been following Tony for a while, he's been ahead of all of this. I think that's one good attribute about me, is that I'm always like a step or a couple of steps ahead. In general, I won't say nothing. I won't say too much about certain things. You know what I mean? All right. What's up to John Smith? What's up to faithfully? Excuse me. You said, sad how much PJ is getting disrespected unprovoked. What's up to Sister Cecilia? Brother SV says, I heard. Excuse me. He says, iMessage. I guess you meant I heard a message from this first service, December 28th, 2025, and in the year service convocation was powerful, wonderful. Kendrick Dancy says, listen to our pastor he mentioned before, but he reiterated. All right. Elbert Fuller, he says, I'm sorry to hear about C-Rock, but the scripture must be fulfilled. Don't forget what was done to Christ Jesus. He says, and we were warned through scripture and our apostle that these things will be. Rebel Eric says, man, Tony, just a good dude and played this situation perfectly, and I respect that for sure. But like I said, as long as nobody, say anything about me, for the most part, I know, PJ said don't talk about false prophets and former members and stuff like that, but you know what I mean? I'll be having them landmines ready. You know what I mean? I'll be having them landmines ready, but I don't want to be about all that stuff, man. You know what I mean? I like to be very informative, encouraging, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? The false prophets and their members can say whatever they want. They can put up whatever they want. That stuff don't bother me. I don't take social media personally. I don't. None of that stuff bother me. You know what I mean? Number 33 says, Pastor Jennings will get it straight with God's permission. All right. Shannon 68 says they hated the former apostles, now they hate PJ. Wow. Priscilla said that why we appreciate you not being messy for an audience to see. And it looked like he was writing something else, but I didn't see it. All right. Corey Finney says, I never heard you ask for money on your chat. No, that's just me. You know what I mean? I don't ask for money. I don't put up, I think I put up Cash App only on my birthday. That's it. Now, my birthday, I'll put up the Cash App. But other than that, I don't do that for the most part. You know what I mean? I don't ask people for money. At the end of the day, money is easy to be made. The false prophet. I saw a thumbnail of a false prophet, and I think he had me pulling on Gino and C-Rock on another. My man, dude, I don't need to ask anybody for money. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to want somebody for money, dummy. You know what I mean? These false prophets actually think they know what they're talking about. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? If you smart financially, and whatnot, you don't need to do those things. But I let them paint the narrative to that. You understand that? If they want to help out the algorithm by watching and making videos, hey, by all means, that's on you. But I ain't finna sit there and watch a 4 or 5 hour video. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that. Money is easy to be made. I'm in my car, you know what I mean? We could turn on the Lyft app and make a couple of dollars easy right after work. So money is easy to be made. There's all type of resources out here, whether it's Lyft, Uber Eats, YouTube, Facebook, you know what I mean, personal training, whatever the case may be. Going back to work some more overtime, it is what it is. It's easy. You know what I mean? So these false prophets, these people, they think they know what they talk about. Money is so easy to be made when you put yourself in certain positions and whatnot and making smart investments at the end of the day. Shout out to Evangelist T.O.G. He talks about finances, and brother Mark Moretti does. There's another brother too that talks about finances and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So if you financially intelligent and you make smart investments and whatnot, and I don't run my mouth about finances. I don't need to do that at the end of the day. I don't need to do that. But those who teach about those things and whatnot, keep up the good work for the most part. You know what I mean? You also stated that, which will definitely raise a red flag for me, but I tried to support his channel until now, you wrote. All right. Brew Trellis says, actually, I don't watch C-Rock much. I used to watch him because he came on your channel in the debate videos. When he used to come on, the chat was telling him consistently to be humble and slow down. What's up to Jenny Major Me? Shout out to you. David B. Hope all is well. David B said that clown is still posting negative shorts about PJ. I mean, you know, what I would say about that, because YouTube is recommending that type of stuff. You know what I mean? As PJ said, don't even pay no mind. Don't even comment and whatnot at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we may be cool with somebody. I think with Taylor, before Pastor Taylor passed away from New Jersey, from the New Brunswick Temple, him and Ellis they was actually best friends or something like that. They were actually cool. You know what I mean? They was actually friends and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But when Ellis did what he did, Taylor backed away. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Taylor family out there in New Jersey and whatnot for the most part. But like PJ said, never get too close to a brother or a sister. But in general, it can happen. But, you know, you really got to examine somebody. You know what I'm saying? You really got to be cautious in general. You know what I mean? Even with me on the outside world, if it takes years and years just for me to really, hang out with somebody, years and years on the outside of social media, it's much more difficult, you know what I mean, when I come on social media as far as like really connecting with somebody. I could be cool with you. I could be real cool for the most part, but anybody who knows me on the outside, it's a couple of people who know me on the outside from Jersey or who been around me and hung around me in general that be on here. There's some family members on here. I ain't gonna tell y'all who it is. And I ain't gonna tell y'all who my family members on here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say that. There's some people who see me in person, hung out with me a few times on here and whatnot. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say it, but they know who they are and they know how I am in general. You know what I'm saying? All right. And the Build Network says, Bro Jayu just recently posted a video detailing the authority of the apostle in binding and loosing. That's the video. He reposted that. He reposted that. You know what I mean? That goes to show me that, you know, he's been watching. Shout out to the Philippines, man. Shout out to Jude and Perdido, man. You know what I mean? He says, then also apostle detailed it well yesterday as well. And yesterday's message is some good stuff. For sure. All right. RC says, what's up, Tony? Passes the real deal, a man among his men. And that's what he's trying to teach C-Rock. He says, be a man. It's okay to not agree. Just be a man and be better. Yeah, you know, that's what we talked about on here as far as like conversation. You know what I mean? There's going to be some disagreements. You know what I mean? It's going to be something like that at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We human for the most part. But, you know, as a lot of y'all was saying that it was a personal, it seemed personal and whatnot. You know what I mean? I was hoping that it could be worked out. But, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. What's up to Kurt Ellis? What's up to Birdman? Jeremy Dunbar says, as far as I'm concerned, the situation is over. I don't need to talk about it anymore unless the fellas repents. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, of course I knew people was going to talk about it, but I didn't title it, mentioning that fella's name, and whatnot. I just wanted to speak in general, for the, for the most part. All right, Brother S says, I wonder how these people who stab Apostle in the back are feeling as they go about their daily life, knowing that they are wrong. Wow, man, that was something heavy yesterday. That was something real heavy that he mentioned that, C-Rock stabbed him in the back, metaphorically speaking, and that he forgave him, and whatnot. And the false prophets is rambling and whatnot, trying to come up with their own assumptions and opinions, and they have no clue at all what's going on. It amazes me how, false prophets think they know everything about what's going on in a church that they don't attend at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? They don't have no clue. They make these assumptions, or somebody on the inside may be feeding them some type of information. That's another thing I want to say. There's people on the inside. There's people on the inside that's going back to these false prophets and feeding them information and whatnot. Be careful out there, straight up. Be very, very careful. You got people like that. More backstabbers is out there. They out there. More backstabbers is out there. You understand? Those who are inside the temples and trying to be close to, the ministers, some of them are going back to these false prophets and feeding them information. Be careful. You understand? Definitely be careful with that one. All right? Corey Finney says, I think that's one of the reasons that this triggered his feelings. That's how the devil deceives us. Mr. Michael says, C-Rock might be snorking that powder. Wow, y'all funny. Yeah, it's funny. What's up to the mag? Shout out to you. Shamaya says, you never ask nobody for money, and I feel like the great work you do, people should send something anyway for keep us. I guess you meant for us, for us. I guess you meant to keep us informed. You put for keep us. I guess you meant to keep us informed with what's going on with the T.O.G family. It's all good. A lot of times when people say they want to send money, I say send it to the church. Go to the church website. Send it there for the most part. You know what I mean? The Lord has blessed me. I'm not going to say how at the end of the day, but the Lord has blessed me. But if people want to send, mainly send them to the church website, send it there. In general, let that be my tithing, or part of my tithing, in general. So let the false prophets keep talking at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Let the false prophets keep talking, because I give money away. False prophets, talk about that. Talk about it. Oh, I got proof too. They gonna talk about that? You know what I mean? But, we're not here to talk about things of that nature, try to prove to somebody. You know what I mean? If you're doing what you're doing, striving for the Lord, you ain't got to prove nothing to these false prophets. They don't know you. Folks think they know you. They really think they know you. Just because they see you on YouTube, or they see you in the comment section, or they look at your Facebook, or they go through your friends list and whatnot. You don't know nobody, man. Get out of here. You understand? Brother S said, that's right, Brother Tony. I like your style and attitude. You're independent. Appreciate that. Kurt Ellis says, the false ones should go look at the T.O.G insiders and hear the testimonies of his mother, sisters, and others. These false prophets have no knowledge under their belts. Amen to that. All right. J Smooth says, yeah, T.O.G has a very informative channel. Absolutely. What's up, the Frozen Mountain? Christopher Span, shout out to you. All right, Jeremy Dunbar says, I'm going to do another live on the Minnesota situation. Wonderful. Shout out to all the YouTubers out there that's supporting the T.O.G, whether you're putting out commentary videos, Mr. Dunbar, Mr. Ham, Bob T, Shelly House, TNT, Julian Perdido, an encouraging word, Seek Holiness. Who else is out there? Help me out. I forget a lot. It's quite a bit out there. Tyree Lewis. What's up to William 4441? You says, when you and C-Rock had your beef with each other. Okay, DJ Reed, shout out to you. I see you on live right now. Williams says, when you and C-Rock had your beef with each other, I saw his true colors then. Yeah, that was about 2-3 years ago, and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny. You know what I mean? All right. Shelly Davis, shout out to you. Love Hannah says, C-Rock does it because he knows people will view it, even if the comments are negative. That's cash for him. Shannon68 says, I tried to watch C-Rock a couple of times, but he talked too much and always stopping the video he would play. All right. Rebel Eric says, I'm not the best with my finances, but I do have 4 delivery apps on my phone along with my job. There's no excuse. Absolutely. So when these false prophets paint a narrative like Tony Harvin is want some of Gino money, I don't need none of nobody money. You know what I'm saying? I don't need nobody money. You know what I mean? We own 3 channels, and we own a couple of Facebook pages, profiles, and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Money is easy to be made at the end of the day. The problem is, you know, these folks want to be pocket watching and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Go make your money. Go take care of your ugly wives. Go take care of your. I ain't gonna say that. Just go take care of your. Go take care of your ugly wives, false prophets, if you got one. You know what I mean? Never mind me and how much money I make. You know what I'm saying? Truck driving and Lyft driving and whatever the case may be. That's a sad thing. In general, you know, you got them. They pocket watching. You know, what's up to John Smith? Bobby Gonzalez says, greetings, brother. Tony, also the brother and sister on chat. You says, brother Tony, you are appreciated. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. What's up to Cole, 1985, Ben Johnson, Mr. Ham. Brother S says, anyone that has a desire to support Brother Tony channels, always do it with a cheerful heart, because this channel is just excellent for us who want to learn and be better individuals. Appreciate that. Shemaiah 40 said, that's what's up. Never ever tell who your family is on here, because that's not anyone's business. All right? Appreciate that. Craig Crowder, you said salute, not Craig Giselle. Craig Crowder, not Craig Giselle. Craig Giselle, you probably watching Craig Giselle. You probably watching Craig Giselle. You probably watching Craig Giselle. What's that other fella name? Jonah. Probably watching. Who else out there? A bunch of, I ain't even gonna say that. He said, salute Tony. I used to watch C-Rock, but the way he kept saying everyone is of the devil except him, his arrogance made me stop watching him. What's up to El Rodriguez? He says, greetings, brothers and sisters. I've noticed that C-Rock has deviated from the teaching, even here in Colombia, South America. I hope he repents and returns to sound doctrine. South America, wow. All right. What's up to Jewel Hernandez? Jeremy Dunbar says, if we are honest with ourselves, we can always be better each and every day. Absolutely. Brother SV says, the message from yesterday morning definitely was powerful. David B said, it's a spirit in him. He did the same thing to Brother Tony. Shemaiah 40 says, I love the service. It was great, and I was in agreements with PJ because I knew C-Rock was lying. You put, what's up to Bless? What's up to Logan? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Faithfully Redeemed says, I don't get why C-Rock says he isn't with T.O.G. anymore, but keeps talking about the T.O.G. Jeremy Dunbar says, shout out to Minister McKenzie and Minister Mark. They are doing a wonderful job. Shout out to them. Shout out to them out there in that temple. Shelly Davis says, some people have never grown up, wasting their time with a lot of gossip and drama. Appreciate that at Christmas Band. Shout out to you. Faithfully Redeemed says, C-Rock is even coming for Paul Logan. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Like Christmas Band said, if something is funny, even if it's about, us, that was funny. That was funny. You know what I mean? But, certain things that said could be, disrespectful. It could be. You know what I mean? It could be. Took shots at, I think Logan, he says, there was another fella too. I think he had like a hit song or something like that back in the day. You know what I mean? All right. Mr. Dunbar says, I wonder if these false prophets accept tithes and offerings to pay their preachers. Wow. Brother S says, we forgive people for their actions, but I pray that we don't backstab our apostle to live a life of regret. That would be very sad. Backstabbing. Wow, that's just a tough situation. I have a lot of experience of being backstabbed. You understand, metaphorically speaking? Of course, a lot of us been backstabbed by family members, friends, probably before we even came to the church at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But it's a lot. I'm speaking in general, not specifying, but it's a lot of people with those type of intentions in general. That's why I'm like very, very cautious. I'm very cautious. I don't care if I speak to people every day. I don't care. I'm just very, very cautious. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So if a person is acting such a way, I know my mindset. I can easily cut somebody off and I won't even care. You know what I mean? It won't even bother me at all, for the most part. You know what I mean? And that's just always been me at the end of the day. All right? G Spores says, so I asked one of the T.O.G ministers on me getting baptized by ministers that backslide, do I have to get baptized again? And he said, if I feel any guilt about it, then do it. I mean, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think PJ talked about that when the situation happened with, what is that cat name from Texas? Wicked Went. You know what I mean? I believe he talked about that. So if you want to go back to that message, I believe he talked about that. I think somebody asked him a question in the audience. You know what I mean? All right. What's up to Sandra Williams? Shout out to you, Vivian Knight. Shout out to you. Corey Finney says, I watch T.O.G for my own personal gain. I need the knowledge to be saved, so I really don't concentrate on who PJ debate. I keep my mouth closed. This the only thing in this day to follow. Debating. I wanted to have that conversation. Is anybody and everybody worthy to be to have a debate with? I mean, you got hundreds and thousands of people trying to debate Pastor Jennings. You understand? It's a lot of them out there. It's a lot. You understand? And it's like, does one man have the time to debate hundreds and thousands of people at the end of the day? You know what I mean? So is any and everybody worthy of a debate? Yes, I like watching debates for the most part. You know what I mean? But I don't think everybody is worthy to get a debate. What's up to S. Rod? David B says, I'm telling you, that fella is going to declare himself a prophet if he lets Satan deceive him further. Wow. All right. What's up to Sherry Ann Redmond? Shout out to you. You know what I mean? Vitamin water. I got to get you some of this. Vitamin water, for sure. False prophets. Get you some of that. All right? You said you, Tony Harvin, Pastor Jennings, will find out the truth about you. You agree with C-Rock, and now you change your tune. He says, wow, the love of money and deceit is your game. And these members of First Church, wow. Okay. Wow. I mean, hey, if that's your opinion, that's on you. You understand? All right? We're going to keep it going. For some reason, I think that you're somebody who just made up that name and just wanted to come in here and say that. You know what I mean? It's always individuals like that. It could be somebody who we have blocked. It could be a former member. You know what I mean? You might be a guy in disguise saying that for the most part. I'm not stupid. I've been around the internet to learn how some people talk and whatnot and how they do it. You could be a whole male saying that. You might not even be a female. At the end of the day, you just probably made a fake name, right? Got some type of hatred for me, and to say that at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So I like to read comments like that. You know what I'm saying? You says, you, Tony Harvin, Pastor Jennings will find out the truth, all right, about you. You said you agree 100% with C-Rock. Okay. And you says, and now you change your tune. Wow, the love of money and deceit is your game. And these members of First Church, wow. Wow, the love of money. We don't even get paid on this YouTube channel, so I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? If you got your proof and whatnot, let me know. Email me. You know what I'm saying? You can come on the network channel. I believe tomorrow we'll be on. You understand? Having a conversation. I hope I have some time for it. I'll allow you on. All right? You come on, you show your face, and whatnot. State who you are, Sherry Ann Redmond. If that's really you. All right? But I doubt it. You understand? You might be Craig Giselle. You might be Jonah. All right, what's up, the known unknown? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. All right, Johnny County says, hey, Tony in chat. I've looked at C-Rock channel and he seems desperate to have a successful channel. He says, but he doesn't have what it takes. Messing with PJ is a dangerous thing. You says, repent. All right. Let me see where we at. We're just scrolling down. What's up to Tracy? Shout out to you. All right, brother S says, man, if we want to bless our brother Tony financially, we will do it because we love him. Appreciate that. Known unknown says, he says, I want my brain, so my body, society trying to keep their eyes on me. I don't know what you're talking about, known unknown. That's kind of weird right there. All right, brother. Excuse me, brother SV says, I definitely agree. Bro, Tony, it's shameful for men to pocket watch. They pocket watch, they bedroom watch. They do. A lot of false prophets, they bedroom watch. They want to know who you are, laying it down to. A bunch of sick men out there. You understand? They listen, they like to watch other men. They want to talk about fellas and the truth of God, but they focus on men a lot. I don't get it. They got the characteristics of a Skittle, but yet they want to try to say others are Skittles. I don't get it. Pocket watching, bedroom watching. You understand? What you doing worrying about who another man is laying it down to? Why you thinking about that man like that? What, you undressing him or something like that, false prophet? Nasty behind people out here. They nasty. You understand? What's up to Kendrick? Shout out to you. For the most part. Bless said Jonah was in the chat one night. Well, he said he was Jonah. I don't know. Yeah, you never know. There might be trolls coming on here and trying to say they're Jonah or Crazy Cell, or you got a lot of weirdos. It's just a bunch of weirdos on here as far as like false prophets and their members or former members. All right. What's up? The M90. Jeremy Dunbar says, I think Crazy Cell blocked me. I tried reaching out to him and then went right to voicemail. Well, he probably tuning in, watching, and whatnot. You understand? He probably watching. You know what I mean? Shannon said, we must pray for ourselves, each other, and our enemies. Wonderful, Brother S. So to the false prophets out there, we have a genuine brother who loves his brothers and sisters, and we definitely love our brother Tony. Appreciate that. Shout out to you. God bless. What's up to Vivian Knight? Jay Fuller says, greetings, brothers and sisters. Anybody have tips on what is that? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. That sound kind of, I don't know what that means. Somebody help me out. Jay Fuller, I don't know what you're talking about with that one. All right. Known unknown said he will keep talking about T.O.G. because he is irrelevant without God, and Yeshua is with the T.O.G. What's up to Nelly from Jamaica? What up to Solid Vision from England? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. M90 said things that are happening in T.O.G. are not looking good. Former ministers and people are all against PJ in the church. You know what? To me, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. That's my mindset. At the end of the day, let them keep talking. They gonna keep talking. They gonna keep making their videos and whatnot. I don't take none of this stuff personal. You know what I mean? Or they're going to do that stuff over the internet at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So let them waste their time talking about us for the most part. I don't sit there and watch hours of them in general. You know what I'm saying? All right. Here we go. Sherry Ann Redmond, you again. You said just want views so you can what? Views so you can get paid. You are a big snake. I don't get paid on here. What are you talking about? I don't get paid on this YouTube channel. That's how dumb you are. You know what I mean? You say you are playing a dirty game and First Church members are being gullible. Wow, where is the spirit of discernment First Church members? Tony, wow. What is this heifer talking about if you are a female? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you were sent by the false prophets or former members and whatnot who might have toned you out or turned you out or whatever the case may be. You understand? Go back to your pimp and you know what I mean? Because I don't know what you're talking about. Whoever's pimping you, you understand? You're doing a horrible job. You're doing a horrible job. Whatever false prophet or former member is pimping you, you're doing a very horrible job because we don't get paid from this YouTube channel. And if I decide to get paid from this YouTube channel, it's my business. You understand? I own this channel. You know what I mean? You ain't the one that got to pay taxes on this channel. I do if it happens. You understand? All right. Let me see where we at. Brother S said we love and stand with our brother Tony and his channels. Look every time he comes on live. Look how many of us are on live and appreciate that. Scrolling down. Let's see who else. Jewel Hernandez. You says Pastor did say he would prefer to debate the big fishers, not these little rascals. The men of God got better things to do. What's up to Daryl Jones? G's forces that had to avoid a person on Facebook trying to argue with me over believing TV pastors have the power to heal people when supposedly he got healed by one of them. But I told him to take it up with PJ. Love Hannah says ex-members aren't worthy of a debate. They once sat under the truth and knew what we believe and believed it too. Their goal isn't understanding, but to challenge. So debating with them is pointless. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Read that. What's up to Larry? Right. What up to Jamal? Shout out to you. Gino P. T.O.G. Shout out to you. What up to Bob T? What's up to GW414? What's up to Art? Shout out to you. Jay Sean said, try to explain the apostles' power in Acts. He says, bro, you put out a video of PJ explaining this, but it fell on definitely ears to see rock. I think he meant deaf ears. What's up to definitely Divinely Love? Shout out to you. What up to OC? Cali Boy T.O.G. Sin Andreas. You says false prophets are going to be looking real stupid come the day of judgment if they don't repent. They are weirdos. Hope they keep that same false prophet energy on that day. What's up to Tayson? What's up to Say When? Israel, shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Jerry? Shout out to you. What's up to DeWill? Shout out to you. What's up to Amy? Shout out to you. Right? What's up to Tanya Bond? Yo, y'all funny. What's up to Gwendolyn? Hope all is well. M90 says, are you going to pay taxes if you monetize the channel or decide to get paid? Well, anytime you do Lyft, anytime you do Uber, anytime you do social media, You know what I mean? Anytime, anything is classified as a business, you have to pay taxes. Unless, if you're shooting YouTube from your house, you could get tax credit from, internet you pay for, your electricity, or whatever. Like if you do Lyft. If I turn on Lyft right now and you make a certain amount a year, you can get tax credit from your gas, oil changes, whatever type of maintenance. If you go to McDonald's or somewhere to buy food while you're doing Lyft, all that stuff could be included in tax credit. You know what I mean? So you have to pay taxes. Yes, if you don't know how to do or get tax credit, you know what I mean, from the things that you spend on, if you're doing like Lyft, even if you own a truck, if you get a trucking business and whatnot. Shout out to all my truck drivers out there. You have to save your receipts. You have to, make sure you got the right mileage. If you're an owner-operator, anytime you own something and you're making money off of it and whatnot, you have to report that to the IRS. There's no way around it. You understand? Because you might get yourself caught up in tax evasion. You understand? So those out there, you think, oh, I'll come on YouTube or Facebook and make money. Learn about taxes. Learn about that first. You know what I mean? Because if you taking your check and you just spending it and you ain't reporting it when the tax season comes, the IRS, if they find you, I understand it's like a small percentage before the IRS can audit you. I think it's like 1% chance. But that 1% chance could be you. You know what I mean? So yes, you have to file whatever type of money you make, whether it's on social media, whether you own a trucking business, Lyft, it's all the same. It's all the same. You own your business. You get a YouTube channel, you're making money, it is considered as a business. You know what I mean? It's your business. So you got to be careful with that one. All right. What's up? The Truth with Proof. He says, I'm having a oneness call, my live show Sunday on Godhead. I'm having a oneness call. Truth with Proof. Okay. Lord willing, I remember. What's up to Terry? He says, if God is with us, who should be against us? I've been to PJ, Brother Church in Minnesota. Who that, is that Tyrone? Is that Tyrone Jennings? Let me know. All right. What's up to Drago? What's up to Looking for God? He says, there's always something weird about that dude. I really think he wants to become a preacher, prophet, whatever. Wow. We're just scrolling down. What's up to Lorianne? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that, Brother S. He says, good information, Brother Tony, on taxes. You got a lot of people on here. They so focused on if you're making money off of YouTube. It's your business. Stupid. You got a false prophet out there who owns a barbershop. You know what I mean? Out there in Canada. I'm pretty sure he got to pay taxes on that. You know what I mean? It's the same dealing with YouTube. You own your own business. You know what I mean? You put out your own content or whatever the case may be. If you make money off of it, if you get into the YouTube partnership program, and I don't knock anybody if they get paid off of social media. That's their business. You know what I mean? It's parallel to somebody owning a retail store. You know what I mean? It's parallel to somebody owning, I don't know, a gas station. It's the same thing. You still got to pay taxes at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? You still got to report it to the IRS at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So a lot of people like to pocket watch you for the most part. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pocket watches at the end of the day. All right. Let's see where we at. Terry, he says, what happened to C-Rock? I thought he was with the church. Well, you have to go back to yesterday's service and listen to it. Go back to it, listen to it and whatnot, and you might get some information, you know what I mean, in reference to that. It's on First First Church Truth of God broadcast YouTube channel. All right. Let's see where we at. Amy says the comment you just read sums it up. Appreciate that. All right. Let me see where we at. Appreciate that at Gwendolyn. Shout out to you. What's up to T4058? Hope all is well. Mike Slaughter, I don't know what you're referring to. We got about 10 more minutes left. 10 more minutes left before we knock off. 10 more minutes left. Yeah, I mean, Lord willing, we'll come on tomorrow with some more good conversation. Hopefully on the other channel. All right. M90 says, do you think C-Rock didn't know how to tarry for the Holy Spirit to be able to speak in tongues? As PJ said, he has to wait. Or it's just that everyone have the Holy Spirit without speaking in tongues? Well, I'll let the preacher man preach on that. You know what I mean? That's for the preacher man. Whatever he mentioned about speaking in tongues, you know, he talked about it. There's other videos on YouTube of him preaching and teaching on that. So that's a question that a preacher man has to handle, not me, at the end of the day. All right. Michael Burke says, TH Network is important. It gives hope and direction in a world where it is full of chaotic and discouraging people. Keep pressing forward, bro. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Larry says C-Rock replied earlier talking about exposing Ernest. Some like dude who cares what he does. That's his soul. I asked him twice about the phone call between he and PJ. Still no response. He lied about that. Wow. I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. If all gloves are off, it is what it is for the most part. At the end of the day, you know. All right. What's up to God Fear? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. He says greetings T. What up to David B? You said that fella definitely don't have the Holy Ghost. Wow. Larry, are you commenting on his YouTube channel? Let me know. You know what I mean? Not a problem. And Kendrick, what's up to James? Shout out to you. He says from Newport News, Virginia, peace and blessings, trucker's life. Be safe out there. Be safe out there. Shannon says, got an unholy spirit. Wow. Let's see who else we can read. We got a couple of more minutes left before we knock off. Couple of more minutes. If you got any last closing remarks, feel free to leave it in the chat room. If you got any last closing remarks. What's up to Birdman? Bird. He says, Brother T, good seeing you. Appreciate that. Thanks for being on. Conversating for about a good hour. And whatnot. You know what I mean? All right. Right back at you at Kendrick Dancy. M90 Christmas Band said, you coming back on tonight? I don't know. I'm trying to work on like a video format type of thing. That's what I'm trying to do. I might come back on tomorrow on the network channel. You know, have a little maybe a panel discussion. Thinking about that. M90 says, do you think Pastor Jennings should have to go live stream to answer people's questions just like other pastors do, for example, the way you are doing right now? That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. But he don't have to do it. You know what I mean? He don't have to do it. You know what I mean? It's not mandatory to come on YouTube and answer questions. You know what I'm saying? But it would be very interesting if he did do that. It would be very interesting. You understand? Very, very interesting. You know what I mean? Just come on the live stream for like good 10, 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Answer some questions and whatnot. That'd be very interesting though, man. For sure. Reasonable questions, respectful questions. You know? But one don't have to do it if they don't want to. You understand? I ain't knocking it at all. What's up to Double A? Shout out to you. David B said, let's all put that fella behind us until or if he comes to repentance. Appreciate that, our brother S. Rebel Eric. David B. That's kind of fruity from that Jamaican boy. All right. M90 says, many of us have many questions to ask him, even his enemies. Well, I mean, you can't force nobody to come online on a live to answer questions. You know what I mean? The man is busy. He got kids, he got a family, got a wife to take care of, and handling millions of people around the world, and stuff like that. So I can't knock that. All right. Lorianne says, if one knows the Bible, they would have not taken what pastor said out of context. You said C-Rock has no clue of the Bible, praying for understanding. Brother S says, looking forward for another live tonight if possible. Darlene says, C-Rock need to stop his foolishness. He act like David Ruffin. David Ruffin. Wow. Unfortunately, David Ruffin was high. What is his excuse? Sick of foolishness. David Ruffin. I don't think Gino has time for that. You say he needs to rest from all those traveling. You put at valid. All right. What up to Levy? Shout out to you. What's up to Donnie? M90. You said, do you think C-Rock is influenced by the former T.O.G. to do what he has done to Gino? Listen, I don't know. I can't answer that. You understand that? I cannot answer that, but, you know, in one of those videos, he explained why. You know what I mean? But I mean, personally, I can't answer that. Whatever was said over the internet, that's what it is. You know? Jules says it would be nice to see PJ on here, but I understand he is extremely busy. All right. Appreciate that. Jerry, what's up to 8202? All right. Cali Boy T.O.G. said, had to come back to my spiritual sense. G-Swole says, I was just curious, why did you change the time you come on live at? What are you talking about? What you talking about, man? Let me know what you're talking about. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm lost, Gino P. What is he talking about? I don't know. I really don't know. Help me to understand. I'm like so lost. All right, what's up to Jay Jackson? Shout out to you. M90 says, as Christians, we should be united without divisions. Yeah, that's true, but it's rough out here, especially dealing with people. It's rough dealing with people. Rough. Levy says, the only thing C-Rock brought out was the haters of T.O.G. Valor says, he says, the man gave you money to bury your loved ones, and then you did this. Wow. I mean, you know, when PJ explained that, it's just wow, man. That was a service yesterday. That's going down in the record books. That was a service right there. You know, wow. You know, all right. Cali Boy T.O.G. You're making reference to G-Swole. You said it's a 3-hour difference. Wow. Let me see. 40 T4858. You said a mouthful, brother, is rough dealing with people. I'd rather deal with animals. And you know, a lot of people would rather that. A lot of people. You know what I mean? Especially so-called church people. It's rough. Jules said we should expect that more men and women will go out from T.O.G. It's all in the Bible. He said, let's just make sure we're not the ones falling out of truth, because outside of this, it's hell. Wow. What's up, Shannon? G4 said, you used to come on live like around 6 p.m. out here in California, so I'm guessing it's 3 out there. No, it's 4:40 right now. It's 4:40. All right. The Rebel Eric says, in battle rap terms, that was a 3-0 by PJ. He said a 3-0. Levy said the hypocrites said he was wrong for putting C-Rock business out there, but how much people put Gino business out there? Ain't that something? Appreciate that at Gino P. What's up to Zero? All right, we got to go. Appreciate y'all for tuning in for this conversation here. Lord willing, we'll be on a secondary YouTube channel. Tomorrow, Tony Harvin Network. That's my secondary YouTube channel. We continuing to put out more T.O.G videos on the third YouTube channel for the most part. G-Swole, come on, man. You're a working man. You're a working man. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes your schedule change. Sometimes you don't feel like doing something at a certain time and whatnot. I don't feel like coming on live at 6 right today. You know what I mean? That's why I scheduled for this. We pull over. That way I can knock it out, go home, do what I got to do. And once I get comfortable and relaxed after working out and all this other stuff, it's like 9:30. You know what I mean? It's like 9:30. I remember one time we was having those 3-4 hour lives, man. And I would go to bed like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning on a work night. No, not this time. No. So I'll be getting some early rest. You know what I mean? And that was going on for about 1.5 years or 2 years. So I missed a lot of sleep. Not this time. You understand? Not this time. The only time we can have conversations, but I'm going to try to keep it short as possible. You know what I mean? As far as like with a topic, you know? But I ain't doing those lives no more like that. No. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a Saturday night or a day I don't have work the next day. You know? All right. Appreciate that at John Smith. Jay Sean says Tony be laughing low key like I knew that was going to happen. I mean, hey, you know, it is what it is upon things and whatnot. I'm my own person. I do my own thing. So whatever situations, you know, somebody go through, hey, I'm just like it is what it is. In general, I'm going to keep doing what I do from the beginning. Yes, we have disagreements for the most part, but hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? A lot of these situations have happened throughout the years and whatnot from my time, you know, being a part of the Troop of God. It has happened before. It's nothing new to me. You understand? It's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun that I haven't seen. You understand? Whether it's with Ellis, with Murray. Well, I wasn't there when Murray was there, but who else? I think it was a light-skinned chick who left. I forgot her name. It was another light-skinned chick too. You know what I mean? She be out there in New York preaching. She used to be with the T.O.G. I forgot her name, but she's from Jersey. You know what I mean? She used to be on here. She probably watching. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of them who have left and whatnot. But hey, it is what it is. All right. Excuse me. What's up to Pamela Jackson? Shout out to you. Appreciate that at Shemaya 40. Absolutely at Levy. Appreciate that at Lorianne. Darlene. Bless Philly girl. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that at Wesley. Shout out to you. Hope all is well. All right, we gotta go. God bless everybody out there. I'm Tony Harvin. Tony Harvin YouTube channel and whatnot. Be looking forward to more videos. I'm out. God bless. Peace.